Nope.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to the Nope Too Creepy podcast. So, this one's going to be a bit different. I originally was going to have a different story featured this week, but ended up moving that one to the previous episode. This episode will instead feature a tale sent to me by my dear friend, Toma. He asked if I could read it on the show eventually, but I realized today is the best day for it. You see, this story features 3 real people: Toma, me, and our other friend, Joe. In this story, the 3 are exploring and documenting a haunted prison. And this Thursday, a new episode of Nope Too Creepy Explorations will be going live, where the 3 of us are literally exploring a haunted prison. I'll explain more at the end of the episode, but for now, just remember to head to the Nope Too Creepy YouTube channel and subscribe. Turn on notifications while you're at it, because you're not going to miss this video. Anyway, on to the story. Join Dan, Toma, and Joe, 3 friends on a paranormal expedition into the dark and forgotten past of Alcator Prison. As they delve deeper into the prison's history, they uncover a sinister secret and a chilling connection to the forsaken souls within. Discover this gripping tale of terror, tragedy, and ultimate redemption in The Shadows of Alcator. Alcator Prison, an edifice of stone and sorrow, casts its looming shadow over the outskirts of the town. It was abandoned, but far from forgotten. Whispers of its sinister past, tales of tortured souls, and haunting echoes of the condemned infiltrated the town's folklore. Dan, the stoic leader, was a man of logic and bravery. He was intrinsically drawn to the enigmatic and the obscure, an allure that often led him to places shadowed in mystery, like Alcator. Joe, analytical and rational, was the skeptic of the group, a stance fortified by a foundation in science and logic. Toma, athletic, and bearing a striking resemblance to Chris Hemsworth, was the believer, his conviction in the supernatural unyielding. All 3 were childhood friends, their bond forged in the innocent days of youth and strengthened over the years, a camaraderie that had weathered countless debates and adventures. Joe, despite his skepticism, always had his camera ready, a silent observer, documenting each eerie silence and whispered echo they encountered. Their journey into the depths of Alcator was for Dan's popular paranormal podcast, Echoes of the Unknown. They pushed open the rusted gates of the prison, flashlights cutting through the overwhelming darkness. The ominous silence of Alcator was about to narrate its haunting tales to the trio. So, is it just me, or does it feel like we've stepped onto the set of a horror movie? Toma joked, his flashlight illuminating the cobweb-strung corridors and decaying cells. Joe chuckled nervously. Yeah, and we all know what happens to the funny guy in those movies, right? Very funny, Joe, Toma retorted, though his laughter echoed eerily in the silent corridors of Alcator. The prison was a cryptic puzzle, every cell echoing the silent screams and untold stories of the prisoners who once inhabited them. Dan's fascination was as unwavering as his leadership. "The air is thick with their stories," Dan murmured, his recorder capturing every whisper, every echo. "Imagine the tales imprisoned within these walls." As they ventured deeper into Alcator, a chill whispered the sinister tales of torture, death, and haunting echoes of the condemned. Joe, capturing the eerie beauty and haunting atmosphere, felt an unsettling connection to the forsaken souls. Hey, hold on, guys. Listen. Do you hear that?" Joe's voice trembled as an unexplainable whisper echoed in the corridors. The flashlight unveiled cryptic inscriptions on the wall, silent testimonies of the unspeakable horrors. "Are you sure this isn't one of your theatrics, Dan?" Toma joked, though the eerie atmosphere made his jest fall flat. Joe continued to look around nervously. Even he, the eternal skeptic, couldn't deny the oppressive aura of the prison. "No theatrics here, buddy," Dan responded with a nervous laugh, the gravity of their surroundings sobering his usually unyielding spirit. The further they delved into the prison, the more tangible the haunting echoes became. The specters of condemned souls, the sinister legacy of torturous wardens, and the mystifying presence of the cursed cell unveiled Alcator's dark narrative. "This is it. The cursed cell." Dan's voice, filled with a mix of dread and excitement, resonated in the eerie silence. Every prisoner held here met unspeakable horrors. Joe's camera captured the ominous energy emanating from the cell. This is a place of terror and anguish. Something's not right here," he admitted. Toma, usually the bravest and boldest of the trio, felt an eerie unease. "We should make this quick," he urged, his humor now drowned in the chilling echoes of Alcator. The trio's expedition had, up until this point, been an exploration of echoing silences and spectral manifestations. But as they approached the cursed cell, an inexplicable phenomenon occurred. A chilling gust of wind enveloped them, and in a disorienting moment of spectral energy, they found themselves transported back in time. The cold, somber walls of Alcator now echoed the ominous clang of prison doors, the haunting wails of prisoners, and the sinister laughter of the merciless wardens. The prison was alive with the haunting echoes of its dark past. Dan, Toma, and Joe, each gripped with an eerie dread, were now silent witnesses to the unspeakable horrors that had for decades been imprisoned within Alcator's walls. This can't be real," Toma whispered, his brave stature trembling before the haunting reality unfolding before them. We're in the past. How is this happening?" asked Joe as he looked around. In this eerie journey through time, the horrifying truth of Alcator unveiled itself. The prisoners, tormented and forsaken. The wardens, sinister and merciless. Every cell, a chasm of unspeakable horrors and silenced screams. The trio watched in terror as more truths began to unveil themselves, with one in particular shaking them all to their core. A murder, sinister and covered up. A female prisoner named Lily had been impregnated by a guard. Understanding the consequences that would follow his actions, the guard brought Lily to a part of the prison where no one could hear her scream, and continued to stab and beat her until she and the unborn child were dead. The trio then saw Lily's specter take form, still covered in blood and gore. She stared silently at the men before her before beginning to walk away. She stopped and looked back, beckoning them to follow. And so they did. They walked until they reached a new branch of the prison. Hospital beds and sick prisoners filled every corner. Lily's ghost paused and raised her bony finger to the ground before vanishing. She's buried under the medical building, Dan realized. The trio, still besieged by the haunting energy of the past, were compelled to unveil this chilling secret. As the haunting hours of the night unwound and the spectral energy that had transported them into the past lingered, they embarked upon a harrowing journey to unveil Lily's silent grave. The first light of dawn began to cast its glow upon Alcator. Dan, Toma, and Joe, armed with shovels and driven by a haunting determination, excavated the ground beneath the former medical building. The chilling revelation, the skeletal remains of Lily and her unborn child, unveiled in the haunting light of dawn, was a testimony of the unspeakable horrors imprisoned within Alcator's walls. The trio then realized those same walls were growing more rotten and decrepit at an impossibly fast rate. They were being returned to their own time. As they emerged from the spectral embrace of the prison, the haunting truth remained clutched in their grasp. They stood, speechless, above the remains they had found.
They deserve the dignity of a proper burial,
Toma, his voice echoing somber realization, insisted. The authorities, confronted by the haunting truth of a murder concealed and souls forsaken, could do very little. The perpetrator was long dead, after all. Alcator's haunting narrative, though unveiled, remained a chamber of silenced screams and spectral echoes. Yet, in the eerie silence of the prison, a poignant revelation emerged. Lily and her unborn child, though victims of unspeakable horrors, were no longer imprisoned within Alcator.
Their souls are finally free,
Joe, the skeptic-turned-believer, realized. A funeral, somber and haunting, yet echoing the relief of redemption, was held. Lily and her child were granted the dignity of a proper burial. Their souls were released from their spectral prison. As Dan, Toma, and Joe stood before the grave, they realized their expedition into the eerie silence of the prison had unveiled a haunting, unsolved mystery and a long-awaited release. We were meant to unveil this truth, Dan realized. As they ventured out of Alcator's looming shadow, the prison, though a symbol of unspeakable horrors and haunting echoes, was now also a silent witness to the redemption of souls long forsaken. The memory of their eerie journey into Alcator would forever resonate with the trio. Amidst the spectral echoes and haunting silences, they had unveiled a path where terror, tragedy, and redemption ominously converged, echoing the silent testimonies and spectral whispers of the forsaken and of the redeemed. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this week's story. Shout out once again to Toma for sending this my way. Toma, I know you're listening, so I hope I did the story justice. If you want to see the trio from this story actually explore the walls of an old haunted prison, check the YouTube channel this Thursday for a new episode of Explorations, where we search for paranormal activity in the walls of the old Joliet prison in Joliet, Illinois. It's going to be a long one, but a fun one, so be sure to check it out this Thursday. Links below. Until next time, dear listener, this is your host, Dan David, reminding you all to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next episode.
Nope.
Encounters, the Cryptid Hunting Game. Take the role of a monster hunter with a variety of classes, each with their own unique abilities. Draw the items you need and use them to capture cryptids or hurt your fellow hunters. Take on 50 creatures from all around the world, including vampires, Slender Man, and the mighty Kraken. But be careful. These deadly creatures won't go down without a fight. Can you catch the most cryptids before your health hits zero? Encounters, the Cryptid Hunting Game. Order your copy today at enkitointeractive.com and use promo code NOPE to save 15% on your order. Happy hunting.